How we doing, folks? Another day in the world of me, but not a construction project day as much today. I've kind of got to where I can get at this stage, so I've given myself a day off from construction to have a day on off-grid life, which is for me growing my own produce. Lots to see, lots to do, but this big black bin, about 2 years now I've been throwing in my food waste, because obviously it's only me, I don't produce that much food waste, but you know, all the trimmings from the plants, things like that, leaves, um, bracken, which I get this time of the year. I'll show you in a minute. All of this stuff, I got everything that goes in. No, I've not done anything fancy with it, so this is actually an experiment. Yeah, it's black, it gets heat, generate the heat in there, the only ventilation's there, the broken outlet is left open, so any excess moisture can go in there. But what's been fed in here is, yeah, when I cut plants back, anything like that, that all goes in here. I mean, anything that's basically compostable that I can get from here, which is what I said, bracken, things like that. You know, all the bits and pieces like that, I gather it all, it goes in there, and yes, I pee in a pot, put it in there. Ooh, yeah. Nitrogen, it's very good, put it in there. Predominantly, yes, there's been water as well, go in there, but predominantly this in theory should be very nutrient rich. What's going to come out of there, I have no idea, because as you can see down here, I've marked up an area that I'm going to cut open, basically spade size. So because it's sealed, I've marked it so I can get a nice straight line to cut that out, and then I can build with some timber, with some plastic, I can actually build an overlap so that that can go back as well, so it doesn't stay exposed. Let's see what comes out of there. First things first, the all powers. Yep, there we go. Haven't got electricity here, it's so much easier. Let's see what goes on. Covered in bits of plastic and dust now, but we pull that out and we can reveal, and I'm hopefully bending this down so that it can stay attached. I may survive with this, I may not, but I'll get something on there and I can go up and I can make a hinge. Along with doing things like this, for everyday chores, you can see this hose pipe here. This hose is because we're getting to the point, I've run out of water there. Where I'm doing all of this project, I've disabled areas from electricity, water. So what we've had to do, the water always feeds up to the hut, and then I drop it down, explained in other videos, gravity to IBC tanks. As you know, I moved the IBC tank from, well, behind the camera there, by the container, and I put it over by the polytunnel. But it was nearly empty, and yeah, with weather like this, the plants get thirsty. So run a generator, top that up, drop it down. But with my project, that should finally stop where I have to run stuff around like that. Future proofing. But anyway, let's have a dig into here and let's see what comes out. Look at that. It's a little bit, because you know, stalks and all that I did put in. I mean, No, I didn't do all this proper chopping up or anything like this. It got broken down by hand and it got thrown in. And sometimes it didn't even get broken down by hand. But look at that. That I am very excited about. That is done well. It's obviously it's not good enough. There's some eggshells in there. There's all sorts. I mean, but that is good compost. The other thing I was putting there, the ash from my log burner, because the potash in that, absolutely perfect stuff. So all the sorts of things that I've put in here have been good for the system. It's good, you know, and it's going to go back into the garden, and that has worked. I can see in places, a bit of plastic there, I don't know how that got in there, where stuff's not broken down quite as well, but that's not so much of a problem. Because what I'm going to do, I'm not going to bore you with this, I've got things to do, but this beautiful compost, I love it. Now this is all from stuff here. I mean, when I've my own veg peelings. When I buy veg, I try to always buy local. So everything here is locally based. But this is beautiful. So right now, a little bit of A to B here to the raised bed, here to the raised bed. So this is an enjoyable A to B because this is going to give me food. Yes, this has been a success for me. I never knew how it was going to turn out, but yeah, it could do with a bit more. You know, they say about turning it and things like this. I've done nothing. I just chucked it in there, forgot about it. So, but as a base fertilizer layer, and then just get some, for now, some shop bought compost. Just go over the top so that can plant. I can get the plants in. I can start growing stuff. This is exciting. Don't know if you can really see on there. Obviously, because it's gravity pressure, this takes quite a long time to fill up. But we're almost there. On a bit of a lean, about another 100 litres, probably from up there down to here. And you may or may not hear generator in the background because I've got it running so that I can then pump water back up, so I've got a full tank up there already, even though this is not its final resting place, because obviously the project you'll see in time, but due to the fact that, as explained, there's a submersible pump in there, so with a little bit of adapting here with me and bits of pipe that I've already seen, even though this is only a temporary, but I see this as an advantage. This is a bonus. This is progress. And the progress being is we've got the lead to power, if I can untangle it, to power the pump. And that lead will reach into the caravan where I've got my solar energy, my 240 volts of power. So this is a hell of a mess. I'll sort that out a little bit later. So, you know, now what I'm going to be able to do is from here, by sorting out the hoses and things and making up suitable connections, I will be able to water in the polytunnel, the raised beds, the tyres with electricity. No having to fill up the watering can, walk out with a watering can, go back and fill up a watering can. None of that A to B anymore. Just switch it on, walk around. Progress. That's the morning's work. I've got plenty to do this afternoon. But for me, for now, it's lunchtime. Spot of lunch, cup of tea, and then carry on. It really is that simple. But progress, even when there's times you can't really see it, you know it's happening. And then when you start to see it, you get really excited. Um, winter, it wasn't that far back. And yeah, they're dark times, and it's wet, it's cold. I mean, hours and hours of darkness, and so on and so forth. And it gets everybody down to a certain extent, including me. I do suffer with the winter a bit because nothing is happening. There's nothing to do. It's cold, but you have to prepare for the winter. Now we're getting there. I mean, everything's coming to life. Things are starting to grow. Now we work hard, get all this stuff into the ground so that the summertime can be just slightly easier. The autumn time, you get all the joys of pulling up all your vegetables and knowing that you've got food for the winter. Um, and then starting to batten down the hatches ready for winter again. But there you go. Anyway, I'm going to have my lunch. I shall see you afterwards. Well, as you can see, this bloody spade's going in a long way. So I've shovelled out as much as I can of good, usable compost. So I'm just pushing it down, pushing it into the corners, getting ready to top it up again. And it might only be the beginning of April, but it truly does feel like a summer's day. It don't take long for me to be leaking, but gotta keep soldiering on. So plenty of squash, plenty of water. Let's just keep going. Right, time to get some stuff to go back in there. And this is where what I do with these. I found that the stalks don't degrade so well, which I kind of knew. But all I'm doing, this is all last year's stuff, which is slowly rotting back into the ground. Literally breaking it up as I put it in, just literally loosely by hand with a thick bit of stalk. Discard it, but where I can, literally, it's nice and dry. Because it's been so dry of late, everything is nice and dry. So that's all breaking down really good. So there'll be a couple of hours. I mean, again, I don't want to do too much. I should probably get possibly 2 bags of this, um, and then no more because too much of one thing, not good. But this is where, I mean, okay, I've got this growing in abundance on my land, but I'm sure where you go walking, you'll find somewhere that's got bracken, and it's good for the ground. So that's what I'm going to do. Is load this up. That'll take a while. Load this up, tip it in, get another one, put it in. Push it all down. Because this is so dry, which is easy for me here, yeah, I'll get a bucket of water or a watering can, just water it down just to get it to start to rot. But this will keep me busy for a couple of hours. As you can see, it's a little bit wonky. Um, I mean, that has 210 litres of water in it, and the weight was one-sided. It's going to give in eventually. About 3 years it's taken for that drum to give in, and I've been persevering with it because obviously it's tied up to a post, etc. Because it was primarily my only form of water storage for anything to do with the polytunnel and the garment, but primarily the polytunnel. I even cut myself on the bracken. That's why I wear gloves. So now, because I've got the 1,000 litre IBC tank that's got electricity going up its bum, we can have water powered around, and thankfully I don't need this anymore. I'm not even going to attempt to undo that ratchet. Thought it was proper seized. Put it over here, out of the way, and I know there's some water still in here. I'll just double check, because obviously the angle of it. Yeah. What we're going to try and do is be a little bit clever. Watch me take this go wrong. Yeah. No, it's not that heavy, thankfully. That can go into the trough. And then turn that round. I'll do something with that later. It's still useful. But as to how and why and where, I don't know yet. So it will get suitably stored. And this one is fit for the fireplace. Well, the fire outside, not the fireplace inside. And I can get that post out, which I'll zoom in a second on you. But this one's trying to regrow. This post has been in the ground 4 years, and it's trying, it gets growth on it every year. And there, as you can see, is growth. But that will be coming out. Right, what we do say, the one, well, I've got the camera set up on the first one. I was using a lot of old compost and things like that before I put some fresh on top. But this one, before I start that, I never mentioned in one video, this spade. Very sentimental to me is this spade, because it was my father's spade, and before that it was his father's spade. And my dad, he swore by this spade. He said, I mean, my mum would buy him new garden tools, or we as kids bought them for his birthday present, Christmas present. But he always said the edge on this one was the best. I always make the first cut every year with it. It just signifies soppy me, that the season's bringing, but because there is a slight crack in it now. But bear in mind, I'm 58. My granddad was dead before I was born. This is a very, very old spade, so I wouldn't put it under hard or strenuous work, but it's a nice light spade, especially for somewhere like here. And knowing that this growing medium is actually easy, so I'm not going to break the spade. I mean, that's my biggest fear, is breaking the spade. So, but once we've done that, then simple is get a knife out, if I know what pocket I put it in. Got a layer of homegrown compost, and to help get this going this year, it's shop bought. And hopefully in a couple of videos time, I better show you a bargain way of getting compost, because I was very, very fortunate to bump into the YouTubers Camp Out West. Two wonderful, wonderful people. They really are. A great conversation. And John informed me where I can get free compost. And I thought, oh, downside, I'd already bought this stuff. Hey ho, but all we're doing is just putting in here and just smash it around. This one, say, still quite lumpy in places. Get your hands in there. And it's just literally breaking it up, fluffing it up, and then making some raised beds. That's going to keep me busy for a while. See you in a bit. And there you go. Didn't take quite as long as I thought it would, but I keep all the empty compost bags because they come in handy if some friends and your friends want some logs. I can bag some logs up for them. Gathering rubbish to go to the CA site, civil amenity tips. Many uses. Again, never throw anything away, but this is getting close to a day's work, as you can see from the sun in my face. That way means it's going down. The girls are starting to give me some grief soon. So they're saying, Dad, we're hungry, you never ever feed us. Yeah, okay, girls. I've heard that one before, like every day. But there we have it. I now have, after a day's work, I have 4 raised beds ready for planting. It's been a busy day, very warm, sweated a lot. I'll be loving having a shower in a bit, but I've got to clear up get the coal drum to where I'm going to have a big fire, store the water drum, have a general tidy up. But this is a time of the day where a little bit later than normal, but it's time for me to have a cup of tea. So I'll have a cup of tea, and because we're getting those drawn out evenings now, we love them. I'll have a cup of tea, then I'll have a potter about, clearing up, tidying up behind myself. But there is, you've now seen from start to finish how I have built, completed the structures, filled the raised beds, ready for planting. Yes, the only potentially expensive part or more costly part is this stuff. But as I explained earlier, it's a very clayey soil around here, so it's hard work. And I've tried relentlessly to keep fit, and it's just almost like you're fighting a losing battle. And what with the dodgy ticker thing, it was like, I need to make life easier for myself, which is why the big project and raised beds. Easy to garden. Hey, look, I can sit here doing some weeding, planting seeds, pulling crops, making my life easier. So there's a lot of hard work gone into creating this. Yes, there'll be a little bit of work in maintaining it, but that'll be pleasurable. And for years to come, I shall have hopefully some very good produce homegrown, taste bred, especially more than anything. It's like homegrown. Yes, I think potentially homegrown might be a little bit a bit of a psychology thing going on in there, but I can pull that out of the ground, take it up, cook it, eat it. You can't get better than that, folks. So anyway, time for a cup of tea. As you can see, I've got a few extra bags. I kind of went, do I need that much? I don't need that much. I thought, well, no. So I've got a few extra, not needed them, but I will be using these in the polytunnel. So they're not going to go to waste. These happen to be a very good deal on them at the moment. So, and that's the reason I used the camper. First time I've used the camper, not as a camper really, the workhorse. Why? Big side loading door, easy to load them in. Plus, it needed a run. You can't leave vehicles to sit forever. You need to run them every so often. So it was, a bit of a double there. Give this a little bit of a run. Pick these up nice and easy to get in and out. So I just got to get these out into the polytunnel, then carry on clearing up. As you can see, I've just got to finish off clearing up the cable drum and the water butt, but pretty much everything else is done now, and it is time to relax so that I can crack on again tomorrow. Anyway, enough of my face. Have a look at what I'm looking at and what makes me smile, knowing that I've achieved a fair bit today. Moments like this makes all the hard work worthwhile. Anyway, folks, chicken logo will be up there. All the usual. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you very, very much for those of you that do. The comments, yes, I love those comments, and I really do. You can, if you go through, you see I answer them all. Excuse me. But from me to you, I hope you're smiling. I hope I've made you smile, helped you to smile, and I hope I've given you some inspiration. Until next time, folks. Take care. Be happy. We'll see you soon.